my fellow Americans. My name is Max, self-appointed senator of the great state of Long Island. Now, might I just say, though this is an entirely fictional premise, that I wholeheartedly support the idea of Long Island as the 51st state. We already got our own language, cultural rituals, cuisine, and we could counteract congestion pricing by implementing douchebag pricing for every a-hole from Manhattan that wants to go to the Hamptons. Also, we keep Queens and Brooklyn because they're on Long Island. It's on the map. UNFTR! My fellow Americans, I think we can all agree that what we witnessed last night was batshit crazy. So crazy, in fact, that batshit itself would say, that was nuts. Now, we know the president is special, but the obsequious sycophants on the Republican side who stood to applaud every time the president mouth-farted a lie, demeaned some marginal group in America, capitalized on isolated tragedies, threatened to invade sovereign nations, or pointed his tiny little hands at Democrats while calling them names, that was fascist party fealty, like frankly, we've never seen before in the country. In a long time, maybe ever. Frankly, they say it's worse than it's ever been. Have you ever noticed every time this numbnut goes off the teleprompter, the only thing that he can say is, it's like we've never seen before, maybe in the history of this country. Also, I hate the way he says industry. Anyway, I digress again. I could respond point by point to the lunacy you just witnessed, but instead I think it's time we took a little ownership of the situation. What we saw at the State of the Union was delivered on a silver platter by the Democratic Party. That's right. By standing for nothing, we've allowed the Republicans to take everything. And they're going to take everything. You know how I know that? Because they wrote it down. Side note from my real self, a year ago this month I did a full episode detailing the Heritage Foundation Plan for America, curated by current OMB Director Russell Vought. A little document called Project 2025. I and countless others on the left warned that if the Democrats continued to play the middle and fail to recognize the legitimate economic dislocation felt among the masses, that they would deliver the White House to Trump a second time. Sorry, back to the response. Bottom up, middle out Bidenomics ignored the reality that the middle had already bottomed out. You know why we want to tax billionaires? Not because we give a shit that they're billionaires. It's that they've purchased the political system and now we want it back. No more billionaires, not because we're jealous, but because you're thieves. The roads your fleets drive on, the satellites they use for GPS, the internet you built your tech businesses on, the roads, the tunnels, the energy grid, the railroads, the airports, the ports on the coastlines, and the regulations that protected you, all designed by the government, and that government belongs to us, not you. Hypocrisy abounds in the White House, and every White House in my lifetime going back to Reagan. The last honest guy that occupied the White House was Jimmy Carter, and even he was protective of the neoliberal free market ideology that has plagued this country for far too long. The Democratic Party has played defense and given in to the corrupting influence of power brokers, moneyed elite, and lobbyists. Now, there's no question we're better stewards of power when it's in our hands. I mean, we're bureaucratic geniuses, able to ventilate the rotting corpse of a capitalist system. We'll do just enough to let people get by, but not enough to let them get ahead. But these guys want to unplug the ventilator. They're done with you. They planned and planned for decades, waiting for the stars to align so they could finish the job on the middle class. Take what you've earned, siphon every last penny, and take your dignity as well. And like I said, they wrote it all down. Now, that's a curious thing, isn't it? I mean, why would they commit all of this to writing? Well, I'll tell you, because they're proud of it. Now, I know people don't like to make comparisons to Nazi Germany, except for this guy. He loves it. But do you know how we know so much about the Holocaust? Why we have access to so much detail? Because they documented it. They took pictures of the Einsatzgruppen mowing down women and children and burying them in mass graves all throughout the countryside. They registered every work camp and death camp prisoner and maintained meticulous records. They documented everything because they were proud of it. They thought they were doing a service to the world by eliminating the Jewish people, the Roma, public intellectuals, and communists, and they couldn't wait to show everybody how they did it. You see, evil people write things down They brag about it and hold rallies in part to scare you, sure, but mostly because they're true believers. Now, Trump, he's a carnival barker, but that's his superpower. He's a ridiculous person. Corrupt, messy, inarticulate, unpatriotic, and godless, a serial cheater, professional liar, racist, misogynistic spray-tan bully from New York. Everything that a patriotic, hardworking, middle-class, middle American should hate, and yet they love him. It's almost like having a short, greasy black hair watercolor painter with a stupid little mustache and a cowardly military record convincing an entire nation that a real man is tall, blonde, clean-shaven, and brave. You see, we spend so much time trying to make sense of something that doesn't make any sense. Donald Trump is the antithesis of what his followers believe him to be, so just let it be. I mean, you sure don't win by holding up a little sign that says, liar, every time he lies. Politics is transactional, and it's called public service for a reason, and we've let you down. Moreover, we've opened the doors to these a-holes who are intent on tearing apart the country and driving the economy into the ground. Now again, why would they do such a thing? Because they can. Don't overthink it. Also, does it matter why? They said they were going to do it, and now they're doing it. So in this fake response, let me tell you what a real Democrat should have promised. That we'll work to pass Medicare for all because healthcare is a human right. We'll blow the cap off Social Security to preserve the trust in perpetuity, make sure that the rich pay their share, and increase retirement benefits to seniors. We'll implement the incredibly successful Housing First program to eliminate homelessness and build housing on federal land where there are severe shortages. And we'll build a civilian labor corps to guarantee the right to meaningful work in this country. That's the foundation of our plan. There are a million other things that we can do once we take back this country and show these charlatans for who they really are. Now, please accept my apology on behalf of our feckless, weak, and complicit party. It's time to turn the page and build the future that we want on the people's platform. God bless America. Deport Elon Musk. And Trump has tiny little hands with a leather Cheerio mouth. There. Wasn't that easy? You know who said most of this, by the way, in the real unofficial response to the State of the Union? Bernie Sanders. The man who hasn't changed his beliefs and principles since he started in public service when I was 8 years old. I mean, go watch his response if you haven't. This guy's 83 years old, and he's running around the country holding town halls in red districts. The Democratic Party has done everything in its power to suppress and sideline this guy, and he won't stop. So instead of getting behind him and recognizing that his message is what we all really want, they trotted out Elysse Slotkin of Michigan, and here's what we got in the official response instead. I'm going to give you the highlights of her speech in bullet point form, and then I'll link to the transcript in the notes so you can read it for yourself. First off, she was in New York on 9/11. Okay. She joined the CIA and then the military. Well, thanks for your service. Mentions how George Bush and Barack Obama both believed in this country. Says we need to stop losing jobs to China. All right. We need lower prices and better jobs. Okay. Tariffs are bad. National debt is too big. National security is of paramount importance, and we need to secure the border. Reagan was a better Republican president than Trump. We're a nation of innovators and risk takers, and that we should get engaged. Do something other than doom scroll. Go f*** yourself. We don't need your hawkish Republican light bona fides. We don't give a shit that you were in the CIA. In fact, you know what? That makes me a little nervous. Keep George Bush and Ronald Reagan's names out your damn mouth. Don't say healthcare costs are too high unless you're going to talk about Medicare for all. National security, national debt, secure the border, risk takers and innovators. I mean, are you kidding me? These are GOP talking points. Recently, James Carville took out his little playbook from the 1990s and told the Democrats just to hang back. I just talked about this in our last video. He said hang back because the Republicans will implode and open the door for Democrat wins in the midterms. This is terrible advice. Not because he's wrong, because he's right. But it'll just be a circle jerk all over again. Only if these guys keep gutting the government, there's going to be nothing left to run. Now, for those who say, it's a pendulum, it'll just swing back, it won't. They say, why would they destroy the economy on purpose? First of all, why do you think they're all building spaceships and designing chips to put in their brains? They intend to peace out of this planet and they think they're going to live forever. Now, seriously though, they don't care about you, the economy, economic theory, taxes, regulation, competition, whether anyone will be able to buy anything. And I know this is the hardest thing to understand, right? Because if they light it on fire, won't they go up in flames as well? No. Actually, no. That's not how it works. Again, they wrote it all down. The period of time in history that they covet is the Second Industrial Revolution. Read Project 2025. The mid-19th century is their Roman Empire, as the kids would say. All the trappings of a feudal society in the beginning stages of industrialization. The haves and the have-nots. Please, read your Dickens, folks. Read your Jacob Riis and How the Other Half Lives. They don't want one economy. They want two. One for you to service and the one for them. They don't need all of you, and they won't part with a penny. I mean, what do you think the AI revolution is really all about? Think about the hundreds of billions of dollars being spent. Now, people like Larry Ellison will tell you it's to cure cancer, and sure, that's part of it. But if they destroy the healthcare system, then who do you think will have access to any life-saving technology that comes from this? Don't you see? The vast majority of the money is going into labor replacing technology. That's you. They're trying to fire you. They hired the guy who got famous for the catchphrase, "You're fired," to run everything. If they live in gated communities with armed guards and service people who take care of them, they don't need an economy that works for you. They know this because mansions were built in the mid-19th century. People had servants. They didn't pay income tax. This country was theirs. That's the American dream in their minds. So if we do as Carville suggests, nothing, sure, the midterms might deliver some victories, another little speed bump along the way for the GOP, but that's why they're working so hard and so fast right now to dismantle everything. They want there to be nothing left to build back with by the time the Democrats get back into office. So you're saying we're screwed even if we win the midterms? Yes and no. See, they're going to drive the economy into the toilet, and people are going to be pissed. We can't just take back a few seats and push the old pendulum back. We need to crush them in the midterms. We need to take the House for sure, but then we also need to send Susan Collins, Tom Tills, John Husted, Ashley Moody, Joni Ernst, Roger Marshall, Steve Daines, John Cornyn, and Lindsey Graham packing. We need to make things impossible for Donald Trump and show a blue wave across the country that gives the House impeachment power and the Senate the ability to eliminate the filibuster and stand up to the Oval Office every second of every day and make this guy's life just a living nightmare. Send bill after bill that helps the American people across his desk and let him veto it. And then mock his giant veto signature that overcompensates for his little tiny hands. See, the way to get Trump isn't to refute him, it's to mock him. He cannot handle it. Democrats, please play hardball for once in your political lives. Be Bernie, not Chuck. So you know how Elysse Slotkin said, stop doom scrolling and get engaged. Careful what you wish for, because it's our turn now to get involved, to go to the Democratic town halls, to call our congresspeople, and to get super noisy, but noisy with specificity. Here's what we want: Medicare for all, housing first, and a civilian labor corps. And then once you're back in control, you'll just have to await further instructions from us, the people who put you there. Here endeth the response. Now you got to do all the things. You got to like the video. You got to subscribe to the channel. You got to sign up for our free weekly newsletter at unftr.com as well. You can join us on Discord by going to unftr.com/Discord, and we'll give you an invite there. You can join us over on Bluesky. And by the way, if you're still on X, Twitter, whatever it is, you're doing this wrong. Talk to you later.